Listen to this. This is from Lucretius's On the Nature of the Universe, an epic poem that was written almost 2,100 years ago. He's describing the moon. I'm in a section here where he's describing the various aspects of the universe. And it's amazing how much he gets right. But like Aristotle, in his considerations of the universe, there's a lot that he gets wrong. Here we go. At this point, he still thinks it's still a mystery where the moon and the sun go at the end of the day, when they drop below the horizon and they come back up. Over here, he's watching the sunrise. I'm a little bit of a tangent here. He's watching the sunrise, and he's noting that he says, at daybreak in the east, strange fires are seen, scattered along the morning's rim, which mass, as it were, into a ball and form an orb. I had to read that a couple of times before I realized what was happening there. He's thinking that the sun isn't rising as a constituent orb, but that somehow below the horizon, the little fires, maybe like the stars that he thinks they are, the little fires, are somehow coming together. And that's why we see the blaze across the sunrise horizon, light below it, and then somehow coming together, and then wow, as it comes over the top. Of course, if you didn't know, I mean, we are front loaded with our understanding of, the Copernican system, how things really seem to work. He didn't know any of that. So now he's talking about the moon, and I'm just kind of blown away at how correct he is. Let us now consider the moon. Perhaps it shines because the sun's rays strike it day by day, turning a larger light into our eyes, rising, as it moves further from the sun. And let me start that again. I got that wrong. I wanted to stop and just talk about it a little bit. Maybe I'll read it through, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it. Let us now consider the moon. Perhaps it shines because the sun's rays strike it day by day, turning a larger light into our eyes as it moves further from the sun, until, rising on high, it sees its setting, and then, right opposite the sun, the moon shines full. Then gradually it must needs hide its light behind it as it glides nearer to the sun. Now, this only makes sense if you've spent time to actually study, to watch the dance of the sun and the full moon, as the moon as it waxes and wanes, right? I mean, the moon is new, is empty when it's on the side of the earth relative to the sun. So we're seeing the dark side of the moon, right? But the moon is full when it's on the opposite side of the earth in its monthly rotation around the earth, which it's getting the full broad face of the sun beaming onto it and then reflecting back on the earth and then waxing and waning accordingly as it goes around. He nailed it. Of course, now he thinks that it's an geocentric universe where the Earth is the center, and the moon is going around the sun at a closer orbit in the ether than the sun, and the sun's going around higher. So he's got that wrong, but he's got this part right. So one more time. Let us now consider the moon. Perhaps it shines because the sun rays strike it day by day. Got that right, because further on, he's not saying this is the case. He's saying perhaps, because in the next section, he's going to suggest that maybe the moon is emitting its own light. He's not really sure, but he got this hypothesis correct. Let us now consider the moon. Perhaps it shines because the sun's rays strike it day by day, turning a larger light into our eyes. Turning a larger light into our eyes. The larger light being the sun, reflecting and turning it into our eyes. Bang, across, bang, and over to us, as it moves further from the sun, until, rising on high, it sees its setting. So the sun is setting as the moon is rising. And he puts it together. I can just imagine Lucretius standing there at sundown, watching the sun go down. And as I've done so many times in the desert, right? I've watched the sun, because I try to time it sometimes, so I'm there at the full moon. I watch the sun go down, and I know within 30 minutes or so, the moon is coming up, full blazing glory. And he's going, wait a minute. That went down, it's shining off of that. That's what he's doing. rising on high as it sees it setting. And then, right opposite the sun, the moon rises, the moon shines full. Exactly. Then gradually it must needs hide its light behind as it glides nearer to the sun. And then he sees it together that as they go offset, the moon is somehow going along. Now he thinks that there's winds blowing these things around in the sky, big winds, because he would notice, for example, looking up, that clouds could sometimes be seen going different directions. So he must say, oh, there's winds high up in the air blowing them in different ways. So he thought, oh, likewise, maybe the moon is moving in a faster wind, because he thought maybe the air gets thicker. Because he thinks these things are in the air. It gets thicker up there, so it's harder for the sun to move. The wind is, or slower. He doesn't know. Also, he thinks, this is where he gets it really wrong, he thinks that the sun and moon are their actual size. He gives long argumentation about why. Clearly, the sun is no bigger than it appears, and the moon likewise. It can't be anything. I mean, it can't be anything relative to the distance. I don't know why he put that together when he didn't realize that if you just look at a mountain, you can go, it looks smaller in the distance. So he missed the mark on that. Really good job, Lucretius, on nailing that. And I've got, this book is just chock full of stuff. I might go back and try to, everything in yellow here is the stuff that's like, oh my gosh. I might go back and share some more of that. But anyway, it's time for breakfast. Yumiko's putting it together. And then we'll have a fun day. We're going to go antiquing today. Bye-bye.